Drew Yang Gang, that's who I hooked up with. Drew Yang Gang, that's who I hooked up with. Drew Yang Gang, that's who I hooked up. Yo, there's no place to hide now that he's arrived. I'm saying he ain't playing now with this campaign. Bang, dang, it's and Drew, come roll with the Yang Gang. He's the one I'm endorsing. His style is awesome. Taking donations, whatever size the portion. If not, volunteer your time instead. Grassroots won't stop at the polls till he's ahead. Some say, who is that? Hey, yo, the newest cat. Other candidates go home feeling super whack. Yeah, they all done. Humanity first, that's the slogan. 2020, here we come. Drop your ballot at the booth just to prove he makes moves. And guess what? Everybody gets $1,000. Studies show it's bound to help economy, making sure we all eat, not just the wealthy. Now I must confess, the country's a mess. God bless us all, it's all just a test. Why not nominate the king of debates? Yeah, it's true with the crew winning vote state to state. Each term 4 years, careful who you get stuck with. Drew Yang Gang, that's who I hooked up with. Not many politicians can really be trusted. Drew Yang Gang, that's who I hooked up with. Yeah.
Automating away all our basic autonomy. Basically pay for the fake aristocracy. Shaking the shame and the sickening policy. Saving on sacred and taking my property. Locked out for weed, locked out for poverty. Lots of us locked out for being anomalies. Logging us down if we ain't how we oughta be. How can I help when I ain't even proud of me? Perfect solution, I heard you been losing. Be sure to be nervous, like certainly choosing. He's certainly proving it, curving and cruising through everything. Throwing at him, serving the truth. Yang bucks trickle up, hey, Yang gang standing up. Hey, plain James on a bus, man, John Doe know it's us. Hey, Yang bucks trickle up, hey, Yang gang standing up. Hey, plain James on a bus, man, John Doe know it's us. I just left my school, couldn't find a pot to piss in. Harsh recidivism, need an extra extradition. Imagine giving 10 Benjamins to kids in my position. That's your decision. It's so pernicious. With your permission, I hope you're listening. I really hope you listen. We're sick and tired, Yang is breaking the silence. Y'all way too pious, accepting what you're provided. Come out of hide and take them all by surprise. We lost our pride, he's told us where we can find it. Yang bucks trickle up, hey, Yang gang standing up. Hey, plain James on a bus, man, John Doe know it's us. Hey, Yang bucks trickle up, hey, Yang gang standing up. Hey, plain James on a bus, man, John Doe know it's us.
You didn't build that. You didn't build that. You didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
First and foremost, my purpose is more important than my position. I came down here to stand up for the people. Whatever the consequences, I will stand up and do what is right. I broke no law, but if somebody wants to make that charge, and they're not just empty threats from a bully, if it's a real substantive charge, bring it, I say. I will fight it out on the Senate floor. And so this is, to me, political posturing.
Universal basic income is not socialism. It's capitalism where income doesn't start at zero.
All right, yeah, get him the hell out of here, will you please?
Markets and businesses function much better when people have money to spend. If we can all participate in the market, then markets become much better for all of us. What's bad for markets is when consumers don't have money to spend. So this is very pro-growth, pro-market, and pro-consumer. It's the next form of capitalism. It's the trickle-up economy, from people, families, and communities up. Socialism, technically, is when the government takes over businesses, the means of production. That would be the government says, hey, we now are going to take over Google. That is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the next form of capitalism, which is where we have to get to in the 21st century to account for the fact that technology is absorbing more and more work.
Get him out of here. Throw him out. No, we had it the other day. I got criticized. We had it the other night. I had a lot of people, and one guy who was seriously obese. He complained when I mentioned that food stamps, we have a lot of people on food stamps. And the guy went crazy. And they said that wasn't politically correct. Who cares? We all have a weight problem. Yeah, you can get him out. Yeah, get him out. Get him the hell out of here. Get him out of here. Get out. Get him out of here.
Hello, I'm Andrew Yang, and I'm running for president as a Democrat in 2020.
Part of your job running for president is for the American people to meet you, and I'm sure you've had to introduce yourself many, many times. What's the quickest version of who is Andrew Yang?
If you've heard anything about me and my campaign, you've heard that someone is running for president who wants to give every American $1,000 a month. 7 years ago, I started Venture for America to train hundreds of young entrepreneurs to build businesses in Detroit, Cleveland, Baltimore, and other communities across the country. Together, we helped create thousands of jobs. But during this time, I came to realize that technology will eliminate millions of American jobs. Economists project 1/3 of American workers will lose their jobs to automation and technology in the next 12 years. In the face of these changes, we need to build a new kind of economy, one that puts people first. The first step is a universal basic income. Under my plan, every American adult will receive $1,000 a month, free and clear, paid for by a new tax on the companies that benefit most from automation. Amazon right now is closing 30% of America's stores and malls and paying zero in taxes. We are experiencing the greatest technological and economic shift in human history, and our institutions can't keep up. If you can imagine a country where everyone's getting $1,000 a month as a right of citizenship.
I made a decision to become a prosecutor for two reasons. One, I've always wanted to protect people and keep them safe. And second, I was born knowing about how this criminal justice system in America has worked in a way that has been informed by racial bias. Was I able to get enough done? Absolutely not.
In America today, everything revolves around the almighty dollar. Our schools, our hospitals, our media, even our government.
But my plan has been described by activists as being a bold and comprehensive plan.
We don't trust our institutions anymore. We have to get our country working for us again instead of the other way around. We have to see ourselves as the owners and shareholders of this democracy rather than inputs into a giant machine. When you donate money to a presidential campaign, what happens? The politician spends the money on TV ads and consultants, and you hope it works out. It's time to trust ourselves more than our politicians. That's why I'm going to do something unprecedented tonight. My campaign will now give a freedom dividend of $1,000 a month for an entire year to 10 American families.
I do not believe you are a racist. And I agree with you when you commit yourself to the importance of finding common ground. But I also believe, and it's personal, and I was actually it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations, and that little girl was me.
The differences amongst us Democrats on the stage are not as great as the urgency for us to unite as a party, not just to beat Donald Trump.
If you believe that you can solve your own problems better than any politician,
but to unite America in common cause and common purpose. That's why I'm running for president, and that's how I will lead this nation. It must be a moment where we as Democrats can begin to show that we can not only stake and stand our ground, but find common ground, because we've got one shot to make Donald Trump a one-term president. And we cannot lose it by the way we talk about each other or demonize and degrade each other. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. If I am the leader, I will work towards the ideal of health insurance, health coverage being a right for all Americans, but every single day I'll join with other Democrats to make progress happen in our nation for the people that are struggling and suffering today. Everyone on this stage should say that we are going to give clemency to the
I owe this neighborhood. I learned so much. I was a kid from suburbia. I lived out in Mayfield in a split-level home with my grandpa living with us, and in a 3-bedroom home with 4 kids, my grandpa. When it's a whole 100 years ago, but I was a senior in high school, and Przicki turned out to be a great athlete at the University of Delaware, but I was runner-up the state scoring championship here in football. I wasn't bad either. But I didn't know any black people. No, I really didn't. You didn't know any white people either. That's the truth. So I wanted to work here. And there's my daughter, Ashley. Come on up here, Ash. And so what I did was I came down and I applied to the city of Wilmington for a job. And I was the only white employee here. And I learned so much. I learned so much. It was nice and cool. And remember Boom Boom Cannon and a few other guys that worked here as well. And we sit there and we talk, and they'd ask me questions because I really was the only white guy they really knew. And they'd ask me questions about everything, I mean, things that just startled me. And Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys. And I did, and back in those days, to show how things have changed, one of the things you had to use, if you used pomade in your hair, you had to wear a bathing cap. And so he was up on the board, wouldn't listen to me. I said, hey, Esther, you, off the board, or I'll come up and drag you off. Well, he came off, and he said, I'll meet you outside. My car, these were all public housing behind it. My car, there was a gate out here. I parked my car outside the gate. And he said, I'll be waiting for you. He was waiting for 3 guys in straight razors. Not a joke. In those days, you used to remember the straight razors. You'd bang them on the curb, get them rusty, put them in a rain barrel, get them rusty. And I looked at him, but I was smart then. I said, first of all, I said, when I tell you to get off the board, you get off the board, and I'll kick you out again, but I shouldn't have called you Esther Williams. I apologize for that. I apologize, but I didn't know that apology was going to work. He said, you apologize to me? I said, I apologize for that, not for throwing you out, but I apologize for what I said. He said, okay, closed a straight razor, and my heart began to beat again.
Go to yang2020.com and tell us how $1,000 a month will help you do just that. This is how we will get our country working for us again, the American people.
Now, one of the answers, it seems to me, is a guaranteed annual income, a guaranteed minimum income for all people and for all families of our country.
Mayor Pete Buttigieg.
It's original, I'll give you that.
We're going to have to consider new ways of thinking about these problems, like a universal income, review of our work week, how we retrain our young people, how we make everybody an entrepreneur at some level.